Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm honored to stand before you today in this honored House in response to the government's speech from the throne. I'd like to begin by thanking my constituents of Langley Aldergrove for once again giving me the great honour to be their voice in Canada's Parliament. My beautiful wife Diane and I love our community of Langley Aldergrove. 4 generations of Warwas have called Langley their home, and with 5 children and 10 grandchildren, many more generations of Warwas are to come. Mr. Speaker, I also want to congratulate you on your posting as our Deputy Speaker, and I also want to thank the member from Dauphin, Swanee, wherever, for the incredible job that he did in the number of parliaments that I've served with him. He is passionate about the environment and has been very effective in working on the environment for Canadians. I also want to thank our interim leader for Canada's official opposition, the member for Sturgeon River Parkland. She's given me the great privilege of being Canada's voice for seniors across this great country. Taking care of Canadian seniors has always been a priority for the Conservative Party, and Canadians appreciate greatly the work that the previous government did for seniors. I'm very concerned that the new Prime Minister did not appoint a Minister for Seniors. I'm also concerned that seniors were not mentioned at all in the speech from the throne, and that the new Liberal government has no plan to keep its promises that it made to seniors during the election. Mr. Speaker, the speech delivered by the Governor-General on behalf of the new government called on this chamber to represent the diverse voices of Canadians, including seniors. It also has called on parliamentarians to work together collaboratively to improve the lives of all Canadians, and in this spirit I stand before you today. While I agree with the government that the economy and the job creation is very important, as is the strengthening of the middle class, there has been a serious omission. They've forgotten to address a growing Canadian demographic with unique concerns. Seniors have been forgotten or they've been ignored. Mr. Speaker, as you know, right now, 1 in 6 Canadians is a senior. In 14 short years, 1 in 4 Canadians will be a senior. That's a fundamental shift. Canadian needs a sustainable plan for seniors that will meet their needs. While the speech from the throne mentions an enhancement to the Canadian pension plan for future generations, the Liberal government does not have a plan for seniors' needs today. That is vitally important, that Parliament not only create programs that are beneficial to Canadians, but those programs be financially sustainable and secure. This will ensure that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the stability and economic security that we all enjoy today from the past government. Changes to the CPP in the future does not address the needs of seniors today. Mr. Speaker, I'm very concerned that health care and the health of seniors does not appear to be a priority of the new government. The development of a new health accord does not address the growing need for national palliative care strategy due to Canada's aging population. It's very important that the Liberal government present a plan to ensure quality of life for seniors and all Canadians. In May of last year, the 41st Parliament, we voted on a private member's motion calling for the creation of a national strategy on palliative and end-of-life care. That motion passed unanimously in this House, and I want to thank the member for Timmins, James Bay, for bringing it to the House. Every Conservative, Liberal and NDP member supported that motion, including the new Prime Minister. I would urge the new Liberal government to keep that promise and immediately start on creating the national strategy on palliative and end-of-life care. One important aspect of palliative care is the caregivers. Caregivers, Mr. Speaker, are both medical professionals such as doctors, nurses, physical therapists, pharmacists, and family members and friends. All of these groups and people must work together to create a healthy, supportive, and loving environment for a dying person. That is not to say that the task is either easy or free of economic concerns. Too often, the painful choices that families must make in the care of their loved ones is tied to financial concerns. This is why the Compassionate Care benefit was developed to help Canadian families struggling with the impending loss of a loved one, in order to ensure that the families have the ability to leave their employment for a period of time to care for the dying loved one or friend. The program was launched in 2004, and it has been growing ever since. When the program was launched, it provided financial support to a very restricted list of caregivers for a period of up to 6 weeks in a 26-week window. I'm very proud that our Conservative government expanded the benefits from 6 weeks to 6 months and let the dying person choose who would be their care provider. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to note that Canadian women represent 75% of claimants of the Compassionate Care benefit. In addition to the increase in eligible time that can be claimed for the Compassionate Care benefit, our Conservative government of the past nearly doubled the funding for this important program from $6.9 million in 2004-05 to $12 million in 2013-14. This is part of what that led to the increase of caregivers that they receive the support they need. This support is a real demonstration that the government can make to show Canadian caregivers and their loved ones that their federal government cares about their plight and wants to help them in the painful ordeal of losing a loved one. Mr. Speaker, while the government is on the right track to follow our support for caregivers, it does not address the other issue raised in Motion 456 in the last Parliament. I'd like to encourage the government to present this House with a national palliative care strategy that takes into account Canada's geographic, regional, and cultural diversity. As legislators, we are faced with the challenge of an aging population. In my role as critic for seniors, I must shine a light on this important issue, and that's why I bring it up today. Mr. Speaker, another concerning omission in the throne speech is the issue of elder abuse. How is the legalization of marijuana going to prevent elder abuse, Mr. Speaker? While I applaud the government's decision to provide further support to survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, preventing violence against seniors is just as important. Elder abuse exists in numerous ways: physical and sexual abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, financial abuse, and neglect. All of these areas are harmful when they occur to any Canadian, but there is a special grievous nature to the crimes when they are committed against the most vulnerable Canadians. To give you an example, Mr. Speaker, we were all shocked and saddened to learn last year of the restraint and robbery suffered by a 101-year-old man, Second World War veteran, retired Colonel Ernest Coates here in Ottawa. This crime rocked the community and shined a light on a vulnerable demographic that is growing. While in this case, I must mention the crime was perpetrated by a stranger. What makes elder abuse unique is that quite often the abuser is an individual who is trusted by the senior. Family members, assistance providers, and friends can provide important care, or they may be a danger to a senior. It's important that Canadians, and especially seniors, are aware of the signs of elder abuse, and that we know who that they can call for help. What is the government's plan to educate seniors and the public about signs and dangers of elder abuse? Mr. Speaker, we don't see anything. Mr. Speaker, the real test for this Liberal government is, will they deliver? Canadians want promises kept and a sustainable plan that will lead to long-term results, giving our Conservative values, and that seniors are important, but unfortunately not a priority to the new Liberal government. The official opposition cannot support the throne speech as it's been presently written. Thank you.